welcome to the Intel Brief, your daily intelligence briefing on global geopolitics. Today is Tuesday, 26 November. I'm your host Daniel, the founder of HM Intelligence, and every weekday we bring you not just the news, but the so what from the events and decisions that shape our world. So grab a coffee and get ready to be informed. In today's update, we'll be covering a British man has been captured while fighting in Ukraine. The UK is not mulling troops to Ukraine, says Minister, and unidentified drones have been seen over UK airbases. So firstly, a 22-year-old British man, James Scott Rees Anderson, has reportedly been captured by Russian forces while fighting in Ukraine. In a video circulated online, Anderson, dressed in military clothing, identifies himself as a former British Army private who joined Ukraine's International Legion after losing his job in the British Army and being inspired by media coverage of the war. Russian state media alleges that Anderson, described as a UK mercenary, was taken prisoner in the Kursk region, part of which Ukraine seized in a surprise August offensive. Anderson's father expressed deep concern for his son's safety, fearing potential torture, and relieved that he had tried to dissuade him from going to Ukraine. The UK Foreign Office has confirmed support for Anderson's family and pledged to assist him. Anderson reportedly travelled to Ukraine via Poland and was involved in Ukraine's efforts to reclaim Russian-held territory. Ukraine's August offensive in Kursk saw significant advances, but Russia has since counterattacked with 50,000 troops deployed to the region. Video of Anderson, shared on Telegram, shows him appearing frightened as he is questioned by a person off camera. The UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy has acknowledged the situation and indicated that the government is closely monitoring developments. So what? While this is a tough situation, it is part of the risk a person takes when they travel to fight in Ukraine. Luckily for him, his value as a prisoner is reasonably high and he will likely be traded in due course. However, even if traded, it is unlikely that he will have a comfortable time while in Russian detention and they will likely treat him harshly. And next, Foreign Secretary David Lammy has refuted claims that the UK is considering sending troops to Ukraine following a report by French newspaper Le Monde suggesting that Britain and France were discussing such a possibility. Lammy reaffirmed the UK's long-standing policy of not deploying personnel to Ukraine's battlefield, emphasising that the UK's support remains focused on training and other non-combat assistance. His remarks came during an interview at the G7 foreign ministers meeting in Italy, where he stated, "We are not committing UK troops to the theatre of action." The report had linked the discussion to UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer's recent visit to France, but Lammy made it clear that the UK's position has not changed. The speculation arose amid heightened tensions between Russia and the West following Ukraine's use of US-provided longer-range missiles against Russian targets in Russia, which was authorized by President Joe Biden. This development, along with intensified Western support for Ukraine, has strained relationships further. Despite this, Lammy refuted the UK's focus on providing critical training and resources to Ukrainian forces without direct military involvement, underscoring the government's commitment to avoid escalation through the deployment of troops. So what? While the statement made by Lammy is very carefully worded, it is highly likely that UK troops are based in Ukraine, but not put in positions of direct confrontation with Russia. What would be good is if Lammy could clarify if UK troops are still required to target Shadow Storm missiles, as this is a key reason for claiming the UK is directly involved in the conflict by Russia. However, this confirmation is highly unlikely. And lastly, the United States Air Force reported sightings of small unidentified drones over 3 bases in the United Kingdom between November 20 and 22nd. The incidents which occurred in eastern England, involved small unmanned aerial systems that were monitored by the base officials. While the drones did not appear to cause any harm to residents or critical infrastructure, their intent remains unclear. The USAF has stated that operational security measures are in place to protect personnel and assets, and they are collaborating with local authorities to ensure safety. RAF Larkenhill, Maidenhall, and Fletwell are significant for housing key USAF units, including the 48th Fighter Wing and the 100th Air Refueling Wing. The drone sightings coincided with significant geopolitical developments, including Ukraine's use of intermediate-range missiles supplied by the US and UK to strike targets in Russia. This prompted retaliatory strikes by Russia against Ukraine and comments from Vladimir Putin, who warned of potential strikes against nations supplying weapons used against Russia. The timing of the drone activity over the UK bases has raised questions, though no direct links to these international events has been confirmed. So what? In normal circumstances, it would be unlikely that these drones were anything more than a hobbyist looking at the airfield, and while this is still a possibility, it is also likely that the drones were being used to collect information. The information could be anything from location of certain aircraft, the movement of supplies into Europe, and the general layout of the camps. If the drones are collecting information for hostile states, it is possible that we will see an increase in grey zone activity against the bases and the troops based there. Thank you for listening to the Intel Brief, your daily intelligence briefing on global geopolitics, brought to you by HM Intelligence. If you want to support the podcast, tell your friends to help them stay informed, and leave us a 5-star review. And just a reminder that our Black Friday sale is still underway until the 1st of December, and you can get up to 50% off merch and training bundles. The links are in the show notes. Thank you for listening. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you next time.